Hi, welcome everybody. I'm Barry Kostrinsky. This is Artist Talk on Art. This is our 41st Monday virtual open studio. No, it's not exactly all the studios. It can be artists in their home, as often is the case, or in their studio. This has been the ATOA Artist Talk on Art response to COVID-19. We used to be at 12 West 12th Street. We have a 47-year history of doing talks on the Lower West Side of New York City. But once this hit, this has been our response. And to be honest, there has been a windfall. An example, Tara will be presenting tonight. We do have three presenters. Cesare Catania, who's in Italy, in Milan, and can't find any clothes to buy. We have Tara Hatzidakis, who is in London. And then closer to home, we have Kathryn Lynch. So we've been able to get people together from around the globe. If anybody saw our last talk last Monday, we had a presenter from Scotland, and we had a very international presence. There was a speaker from Australia, someone else from Italy, and it was really, it showed you how when we're faced with adversity, we know how to react, and we can evolve, and we can make the best of a tough situation. And maybe that is the lesson that we've all learned from this, and maybe from our lives in general, because we're all artists. Nobody has a straight line existence. There are ups and downs, and how we react to that is really how we evolve. So that's what the Artist Talk on Art has done. We're a nonprofit. We're a 501c3. These talks are free. If you'd like to contribute, you could take a look at our website, atoanyc.org. If you don't want to contribute, you could look at our website too. You can see a lot of interesting things there. You can see what's to come. We do have a YouTube channel. This talk will go up probably tomorrow on our YouTube channel. It is our full name, Artist Talk on Art. And I just want to give you an idea of what's to come. When we first started these talks, it was pretty much I would go around and say, hey, would you like to speak? Would you like to speak? And we were a small group. We went from 7 to 17 to 27 to 37. And recently we've been as high as 47. And an idea of what's to come. February 1st, we have 4 artists lined up. That's our next talk. February 8th, we have Good Naked Gallery, Jacqueline Cedar's gallery that has presented once before. On the 15th, Monroe Hodder is organizing Changing Colors. On the 22nd, we have Brainard Carey, who really has written several books on how to make it and survive in the art world. And I think the artists will find that as a very interesting conversation. And then into March, we have a performance talk coming on March 1st. March 8th, we have Tucson artists from Tucson, Arizona. And then on the 22nd, Veronica Pena's organized New Latin X Art Collective. My point is, if anybody ever wants to present or organize a panel, reach out to me. My email is my full name at Gmail, and it's also on the website. But we are getting booked up, so keep in mind, if you ever want to share your art, just reach out to me so I can sort of put it in so you can see and you can know, and we can set a time for you to share. I will say before we start, you may want to mute yourself. I may occasionally go around and mute somebody if I think the reverberation is coming from your screen. Keep in mind there's a chat function here. Feel free to throw comments in, put your website, Instagram, email, anything you like at all. I will, since I hear the reverberation, the feedback, I may, well,
Somebody.
Yeah, it's somebody. I'll sort of go around and try and find who it is. I just want to reintroduce who's going to be speaking. We have Cesare Catania from Italy, from Milan. We'll then have Tara Hatzidakis from London, the south part of London. Definitely the tougher part of London, right?
Yeah, it's okay now.
That's near Brixton.
I'm closer to Crystal Palace. I don't know if you know where that is. It's like a soccer team, so it's, some people know where that is.
And then we have Kathryn Lynch. Kathryn a little closer to home. Kathryn, your studio, Lower West Side or?
Bushwick.
In Bushwick, okay. And so we have three very interesting and diverse artists. I'm looking forward to it. Feel free. The way we do this is whenever you want to comment, go ahead and comment. Say something, ask a question. We don't really. I am muting a few people just to try and figure out where the reverberation is, and I think I did find it. But feel free to unmute yourself. Go ahead, ask a question. Join in the dialogue. We're very positive. We're very reinforcing, and questions range from things about materials to content to aesthetics, anything you like. We're a very open group. Without further ado, Cesare Catania from Milan, Italy. I'll hand it over to you. You're able to screen share whenever you want. I want to thank you for reaching out and joining us and staying up till midnight. Thank you, Cesare.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you for your invitation, and thank you, everyone. Okay, just a short presentation. My name is Cesare Catania, and I'm a dreamer, I'm a thinker, and then, therefore, or besides, I'm an artist. And I would like to show you better what I mean when I'm telling you that, when I do art, I usually mix together the dreamer and the thinker. So I'm going to show you the result. I would like to share my screen, just one moment. This one, sharing. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Perfect. So I would like to quickly introduce you my last online exhibition. It's called Retrospective. I've done the same retrospective last year in the 2019. Yeah, the last year when the museum were open. And this was the exhibition. Just a quick. Okay, this one was the exhibition. Okay, so this was the location, and it was a 3-month exhibition where I exposed quite about 40 pieces. And this last year, I reproposed the same exhibition, but online. This is the opening sentence of the exhibition, this one. So I like to think of art like that moment in which the artist communicates with his canvas using the technique of novelty and the imagination of a child. This is exactly my vision of art. And when I'm talking about art, I'm talking about art in a broad sense. So the art for the modern art, the contemporary art, the Renaissance art. Of course, in the past, the technique was the much more important thing. Or, of course, imagination and inspiration, they were important, but the technique was absolutely the strongest part of a piece of art. Right now, in the contemporary art, we have a different approach, no? So that's why I prefer defining me a contemporary artist, not just because I'm alive. And so this is the first piece of art of the exhibition. I would like to show you just 4 or 5 pieces, no more, and go deeper into these 5 pieces.
Cesare, is there any way you could either up your volume just a little bit? I do have mine all the way up.
I probably think I am on the top, so I cannot put higher than that.
That's okay. That's all right.
Yeah, just a moment. Yeah, I can confirm. What about right now?
Okay. The numbers.
Yeah, it's the maximum. Okay. So this is a sculpture. the title is The Man Who Does Not See. It's a metaphor of our life. So we are a man in this sense. It's a human, okay. The man is blindfolded in front of the society, in front of the companies, in front of the multinational, and this topic is very, very common in my artworks. It's made by plaster, chalk, and natural pigments. Um, the yellow colors and even the red colors, they symbolize that we are living in a golden cage. But as I told you at the beginning, all of us, we are blindfolded in front of what is around us. Okay, so this is the main significance of this artwork. So let's go ahead. Okay, the exhibition was divided into many different topics. The first one is the topic of Harlequin. I love this chapter. Harlequin was a character of the past. He was comic and dramatic at the same time. And according to me, we should do like him, like Harlequin, a little bit. We don't have to take the reality in a strong way or in a serious way, but at the same time, we should be a little bit dramatic. So comic and dramatic, both merging together in the same character. I'd like to go deeper into this artwork. The title is Harlequin in the Land of Giants. Even here, the theme is exactly the same. So all of us, we are Harlequin, and we are running in the land of giants. So the giants, they are the societies, they are companies, multinationals. We are, all of us, we are Harlequin, and we are running on a board. But the giants, they are playing with us, you know, they are playing with bishop, with dice. And as you can see, this is, again, another example where the dreamer and the thinker, they are mixing together. Here are some details. This is Harlequin, this one. So he's running after his head. I don't like character who has the head on their neck. I prefer character who are very smart, who are, of course, a little bit comic in this sense. Okay, this is the bishop, for instance, the dice. And another detail of this canvas is, okay, is this one. On the top of the canvas here, in this part, I decided to put this book. It's a book that fascinated me so much during my academic period, during the university, and it's the membrane theory. So I was fascinated so much by the idea that, for example, Pierluigi Nervi or anyway Le Corbusier or some other, they could be able to make such a huge shell. They were so big, but at the same time so thick. So this topic, this argument fascinated me so much when I was younger, and I decided to give a tribute to them into this artwork. So let's go ahead. One moment. Okay. So another topic is the earth. Especially tonight, I would like to focus on this one.
Or or just felt she needed to become the boss on some level. I don't know.
Sorry about that. I've got that.
Yeah, but I got
Gloria Sampson, Barry.
Gloria Sampson.
Gloria.
Thank you. That was good. Sorry about that. Cesar, I did want to ask you a question. You had the die. You had a dice in the first image. What was your meaning? Or your use of that?
Oh, the meaning is that it's a symbol. Here in this artwork, you can find so much symbolism. The dice in this specific case is the act of the giant who is playing with us. So he's playing with our soul with dice. So we have just the 13% of of our future, of our destiny. So this is the meaning of the dice for me.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, we were here. One moment. Okay, perfect. So I would like to focus on, 100%, on this one. The title is The Mouth of Etna, and is this one. I'm gonna show you another image, another color is this one. This is the brown and black version. Tonight I would like to focus on the yellow version. It's made by, it's a sculpture, it's 1 meter per 1 meter, what about, and the pedestal. The frame is made by steel, the inside part is made by silicone, and this one is the detail of the yellow one. So why I would like to focus on this one? This piece of art was the first artwork that it has been studied. Anyway, the palette of the colors has been studied for people who are suffering from Daltonism syndrome. So who are suffering from, who are colorblind people. I decided to focus on this specific syndrome because I discovered that people who are colorblind, they are quite about the 5% of the worldwide population. So it's a huge number. So it's quite about 300 million of people. And anyway, I thought they are colorblind, but what do they feel when they look at a contemporary art? This one was the first study. Can you see? Yeah, can you see the screen? Yeah. One moment here. Here. So this is the catalog of the exhibition. It has been done almost 4 years ago. It has been done in 2017. And okay, this was the catalog. And okay, this is the artwork. Okay, this one. And this is one detail. As you can see, I decided to put just 4 colors. The red, the yellow, the white, and the black. For me, art, and especially contemporary art, should help society to level the differences. That's why I decided to study specifically this topic. In this moment, I'm studying this topic with the European University. So we are linking art and Daltonism syndrome, focusing on this artwork. And this is the first result. So as you can see here, you can see that just the people who are total colorblind, they cannot feel colors at all. But the other ones, for instance, people who are suffering from deuteranopia, protanopia, or tritanopia, they can feel colors, of course, I probably think better than us. Or, as you can see here, the number 3 is the tritanopia suffering. They are feeling the piece of art probably better than us, because for them, colors is, anyway, it's like the pop art. Okay, so they can translate the feeling and they can boost their feelings through their deficit. So for the normal reality, the Daltonism syndrome is a deficit. But when you're looking at a contemporary art, especially a contemporary artwork doing in this way, the Daltonism syndrome is a booster for their feeling. This is my idea. This is the main idea of the study.
I like that. I like that sort of interpretation. Interesting.
Yeah, you know why? Because we usually think that the minority is something that is less, but in this specific case, for me, it's something that is more.
Cesar,
Okay, so
can I ask you why you got involved with this topic? I mean,
yeah,
it's
curious.
something, I'm curious if you can,
No,
share.
yes, of course, yes, of course. It has been just by chance. I had a customer who are looking at one of my canvas, and he said, can you explain me better or something about that? And I said, yes, you can see, you can feel the difference between colors. And he said, yeah, but so sorry, I cannot feel exactly the difference between these two yellows. And I said, how is it possible? It's evident. And he told me, yeah, but I'm so sorry, I'm colorblind. So that's why I decided to, to get involved into this topic. At the beginning, I thought, okay, it's something which is new for me. But when I went deeper into the topic, I definitely discovered that art, especially especially contemporary art after the pop art, in this sense, could help, to level the differences between me and him. That's why I decided. I don't know if I answered to your question, but this is the main topic.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's go ahead. Just another one. This one. The title is the open cutting. Is this one? It has been made by silicone and acrylic and natural pigments all together in the same canvas. And the final surface, it has been covered, oh, this is the dimension. The surface, it has been covered by diamonds, by real diamonds, so by diamond dust. So when you move in front of the canvas, you can feel exactly this, this movement. So when you walk in front of that and you have a light, you can see exactly that. So the canvas is shining, it's bright, but it is shining in this way. So another one. Yeah, I touch the topic of the music, the topic of the math, that I love it, but you know that. Okay, is this one. Okay, the title is Trois Hommes, so it's three men. It's a cubist. It's a piece of art belonging to the Cubism style, Cubism technique. As a civil engineer, I think that Cubism, or anyway, this is for me, this is my opinion, my idea, is the best way to break out the reality and to recompose again in a canvas. This is the tutorial, because I usually do that. to explain better, you know, the different phases of the painting. I usually do a preparatory sketch, which is this one. This is the preparatory sketch. And
Can I ask a question? Just
Sure.
while this is showing, it's relative directly to this. Hi,
Yeah,
Cesare,
yeah.
this is Daryl. And I just wondered, when you're doing this kind of a work in progress video, because I find that really nice, do you set up something yourself, or is it a friend doing it, or how did you do that?
Oh, no, it's a 2-month working, and the camera is open for 2 months. so,
What?
so yeah, so it's an automatic camera which is going, you know, for 2 months, and after that I give you know the total amount of the video, of the records, and my video maker is composing that into 1 minute.
Oh, I see. So you're
It's like-
taking individual stills and putting them together, almost like a
Yeah,
movie
definitely.
thing. But it was with a camera, like not with a cell phone or something like that.
No, it's camera. It's just a professional camera left over there for quite about 2 months.
Oh, and you kept it on a tripod, I presume, and just left it in place?
Can you hear me?
No.
We can hear you. She asked, you just leave it on a tripod and then you leave it in
Okay.
place.
Okay, yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
And does it go automatically every so often?
Yeah, anyway, it's, I don't really know in which way my video maker is doing that, but I leave the camera open. So I don't know exactly, you know, how is it possible to compress everything in 60 seconds, but.
Are these video pieces, or are they still photos that are put together?
No, video. It's a video, but probably right now you cannot feel exactly this fluid movement just because it's a zoom.
No, I know this is a video, but what I mean is, were the original parts that you put together, is that video, or was that still photographs put together?
No, videos and photographs put together, all together in the same video.
Okay.
I do want to point out, Pamela Goldman said, very sensitive work, Cesar. We had, I just want to read, it was interesting to see the portrait of you working. Daryl Ann said that. So I just wanted to read off a couple of the comments. Keep in mind, you can always talk and, you know, give us your opinion, and as well share in the comment section in the chat. Go ahead, Cesar. You've got about, I'd say, maybe 5 more minutes. Sounds good?
Yep.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
It's okay? Okay. Right now it's okay. So yeah, the characteristic of this artwork is that I decided to put together characters which are very, very important according to me in our society, in the modern age. So the first man here in the center is Pythagoras, who is jumping the ball. Here on the left, you can see Avogadro, and here on the right, there is Heisenberg. And I decided to put all together in the same canvas, just because according to me, they symbolize exactly the point where we are. So we are in this specific point of our area just because these 3 men, they changed our history. So this is my opinion about this topic, this argument.
Cesar, who are the 3 men again? I heard Heisenberg.
The first one, this one is Pythagoras.
Pythagoras, okay.
Yeah, Pythagoras, yeah, 450 years before Christ, with Phidia in ancient Greece. This one was Avogadro, and this one was Heisenberg.
Interesting.
Yeah, they definitely belong to 3 completely different periods, because this one is 3 centuries ago. This one was the last century, and this one was a couple of thousand, 2,000 and more years ago. And I decided to tribute them because they are very, very important for our society, for the time, for the period, for the moment in which we are in this specific time.
I understand you're throwing Pythagoras in there because he had a theory about the symphony of the spheres and how the motion of the planets actually created a sound, and that impacts us. And one of the works that you showed originally speaks about the influence of the giants, the very large, and us being small. And we all know Pythagoras as the Pythagorean theorem, which I'm pretty sure he didn't even invent, but the guy was quite a deep thinker. His philosophy ended up taking over certain city-states at the time. And then often the Pythagoreans were run out of town because they were ruling and they were a little coercive of the people. So it is a fascinating history, and it's actually very hard for historians because the documentation is very sparse. So it's really hard to know. But they believed in things like you don't eat beans because the beans were souls that were reborn. They had some very far out thoughts. And then they had some other thoughts that really line up with New Age thinking. And a lot of the thinking that we do today, Pythagoras was really on a cutting edge way back when. And Heisenberg, his uncertainty principle is probably one of the most important things in philosophy now. Avogadro, I'm not familiar with, the second one you mentioned.
He studied something about the number of particles in a mole of materials. So he was the father of the table element of the modern chemistry.
Gotcha. Go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off.
Yeah, so this is, just a summary of some pieces of art. And here is another topic, love for nature. This piece of art is called Flamingos at the Mirror. Can you see? Yep. Okay. So this is another metaphor of our life. All of us, we are flamingos, and we are doing the cue before looking at the mirror. We love looking at the mirror ourselves because we are vain. But as you can see, we are not perfect. We are not perfect, but when we look at ourselves in our mirror, we can see that we are perfect. So it's, it's a trick. It's something which is linked to the pain and.
Cesare, I'm going to open it up to questions now. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to stop the screen sharing.
Yep.
And feel free if anybody would like to just jump in, ask a question. Of course, you can comment in the sidebar, in the chats, anything at all. I want to say thank you first. Very nice presentation. And, also anytime anybody has to present in a language that is not their first language, we should all try that one day. You heard me speak French. You'd hear me speak French, but you wouldn't know what I was saying.
Si vous voulez, nous pouvons parler en français maintenant. Hein?
Un peu.
Si vous voulez, pour moi, c'est la même chose. Donc, si vous voulez, nous pouvons parler en français.
Wow, wow, wow.
We have a European here. We have a European.
Cesare, thank you for sharing. Really,
thank you for your.
It's great to hear about your work. And are you based in Milano?
Yeah. Right now I'm in Milan. Anyway, the art gallery is in Milan.
Might catch that. Could you?
I'm asking because, you know, I visited Milano a long while ago, but it was interesting to see, you know, how is the contemporary art in Milano nowadays? Or besides COVID, I mean, but I'm saying currently or the last 10 years, or how is the art scene for contemporary art? If I may say, I remember that Bologna was very contemporary, like, you know, if
Yeah,
you
okay.
compare with other areas of Italy, the north of Italy. So can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, yes, of course. Italy is a place which is very, very historical. So it's not easy to combine, you know, the strength of contemporary art with the strength of history. When you put together, yes, of course, you can imagine something like the conventional contemporary art, but when you move, for instance, in the South America or even in New York, you can see that contemporary art is so brilliant, so shining. Here, the contemporary art is a little bit much more calm. So it's a different kind of contemporary art. It's art, it's contemporary, but not too much.
Well, I was involved in an exhibit also curated in Pisa, and and the owner of the gallery was telling me that it's heavy, all the history for artists in the contemporary realm because of all, you know, all the masters that Italy has. I mean, it's so impressive. So congratulations on being like one, you know, I always admire the Italian contemporary artists that they can bear, you know, all the heavy stuff of, you know, Leonardo and Michelangelo and the whole thing. It's really, you know, I love to see how people dare to create in Italy, really.
Yeah, yeah. I'm an international artist, but I'm Italian child.
Cesar, I have a question about
Yeah.
who are some of the artists that have influenced your style? The Churchill, Dali, who might they be? Magritte?
Anyway, I probably think that an artist that say that no one influenced him is not true. I probably think that the history of art in general influenced me because I love Caravaggio. He has done 64, 65 pieces of art officially, and they are really 65 masterpieces.
Yes.
You know, I love Picasso too, but anyway, how is it possible? You know, Picasso and Caravaggio both. Yes, of course. So I recognize a piece of art. It's like the music, you know, you can be fascinated and you can love the Queen, you can love Mozart. It's the same.
But there is one person or one artist that tweaks you a little bit more than others.
Anyway, one is difficult. I can list you, you know, dozen, 20, but one, I don't know.
Well, you listed two.
Anyway, I love the way in which Picasso changed the point of view.
Right.
So not specifically for his art, but in a way in which he definitely changed the point of view. So starting, you know, if you remember the Blue Period, and
yes.
after three or 4 years, he definitely, you know, he has done a jump 20, 40, 50 years after just in a very short period. And for me, this is absolutely astonishing. So I'm not talking about his technique, about his art, but about his mind.
His mind, yes.
Yeah,
I understand
exactly. You know?
Completely.
Because there are so many masters and they've done for all lifelong the same kind of artwork. But Picasso definitely changed something, you know, in the middle. It's not easy for an artist.
No. Well, Caravaggio did that.
Well, Picasso had a little bit of help from George Brock. Brock gets written out of the story a little bit. They painted side by side. Picasso was known to go back and predate his paintings, so it looked like he thought of it first, but definitely a heavyweight. Picasso, maybe the artist everybody hates to love and loves to hate, but no doubt Jackson Pollock, heavily influenced by Picasso. You take a look at his early work, and yes, the way he broke up a canvas, which you hinted at in one of yours. If you look at Picasso's analytic cubist phase, you will see something that opens up a very big doorway. And what I always like about Picasso is he didn't stay fixed in a period. The blue period, maybe 3 years, rose 3, even analytic cubism morphs into synthetic cubism. And then, of course, he goes on and he has his classical period before that. And I respect an artist who can venture into different things. I'll ask one more question or thought, and then we'll move on to Tara.
Yeah.
Yes, I try to add something, Barry, that he was very inspired in African art, Picasso. So we have to add, you know, the origins of creation.
I have a question, Barry, for Cesare. Thank you for your presentation. So it's interesting you mentioned Picasso, because he worked in so many different styles, and you work in so many different styles. You've got Cubist paintings, Surrealist paintings, totally realistic and abstract as well. And you've got paintings, you've got 3D paintings, you've got sculptures and other things. And you studied engineering and music, it seems like. So
sorry.
How do you choose which direction you're going to go in any one piece on any one day? How does that work for you?
Anyway, it's a good question because it's a choice. Anyway, I decided to choose my life. I decided to choose what I love, not what I like. That's why I decided to do that.
Okay.
Well,
That's a great answer. Choose life.
I'm going to read one more comment that we have. Leopoldo, bravo, molto interessante e complesso. And
were you talking to me, hon? Yeah, I'm heading out at 7. Okay.
That's Annie Choi. I want to mute Annie.
Okay, thank you. And I do want to point a little note thing about Picasso. Yes.
You look nice too, sweetie.
Annie, mute. Yeah.
I got it. He took, Picasso did look at African sculpture. You could see it in his paintings in his studio. But what I found out recently at a sale of African art from Alan Stone's estate, when Picasso got some of his African sculpture, he actually removed the nails to see the form. And that's quite a violation of what the work is about, and shows as much as he understood the work, in some ways he did not. But he definitely took pieces of the form and what they were doing and breaking up shape and incorporated it into his work. So in some ways he was a master, but in some ways he really abused some of the sculptures that he got. Definitely a good conversation for another time. And thank you, Cesar. That was very interesting, very diverse. I do want to move on to, I'm going to get this right, Tara, to Tara Hatzidakis. And I want to point out, I found Tara as I found Cesar through Instagram or Facebook, looking at something. I don't know Tara, but I found her work interesting. And I think we're in for an exciting presentation coming from the south side of London. I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself, Tara, and go ahead, feel free. Tell us a little bit about your past, your present, your future, and, you know, of course, screen share as you like. Welcome.
Yeah,
Tara.
of course. Hi, I'm Tara. Nice to meet you guys. I'm probably going to go kind of free form here because that's how I do things. So currently I'm in London. I kind of just got here because I needed to get away from the whole pandemic. I wanted to be outside of myself for a little while, and that's how I started creating the work that I'm currently doing, which is digital collages, surrealist collaging. It's definitely something that I'm more new to doing right now because I started more so in photography, and that's how I've kind of leapt over into this world because I'm doing everything digital, everything's on Photoshop. So it's a place I'm very familiar with. I'm very familiar with all the technology that is involved with Photoshop. So I'm just piecing things together and creating new work. I love photography. It's just something that I've been doing my whole life. I've always done portraiture though. And because of the pandemic, all my portraiture went out the window. I love taking photos of people. I love being around people. And this pandemic has really ruined that for me. all of my work is just like centered around people and community. And so with the work that I'm currently doing, I feel like I wanted to collaborate with people. So I'm doing collaging, which is essentially collaborating with a bunch of people I've never met before. And I really enjoy that idea of being able to collaborate with people I will never know, I will never meet, but they have created this work with me, which is something exciting, and I love that. The work that I'm currently doing is very focused in surrealism. I really enjoy that. I've always been kind of weird like that. Even when I first started taking photos, I took photos with like, playing with the space, playing with like how close things were to the camera, how far away they were from the camera, and how that made you feel and how that made the image appear. And so that's what I've been playing a lot with in this work. And I like using space and time and all this different stuff. So maybe I'll show you guys, maybe I'll try to screen share something, but I can show you my Instagram since that's where Barry found me if you guys want. I have no.
As you prefer, they all
Yeah.
work.
All right, so how do I just press screen share and it should go? All right,
Yep.
cool. Oh, it's telling me to open my system preferences. Is it working or no?
Let's see, Fran, she went to screen share and it's asking system preferences. Is that
Oh, it wants me to quit out of here, so I'm not gonna do that. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I could probably show you on my phone or something.
Okay.
But
That's
yeah.
odd. I don't know why.
I just don't want it to quit me out and then I can't open it back up, so no big deal. But my most recent piece was actually something I've been playing around with, which is just bright neon colors. I wear a lot of black. I don't often use color in all of my work, and I really wanted to start experimenting with, being excited and bright and happy because we need that right now. I feel like all of the things happening around the world right now are so dreary and sad and doom and gloom. So I wanted to start working in a lot more color, which is what I've been doing with this, which is what I did today.
And by the way, you can pin Tara's video if you like, so it'll be full screen. You hit the 3 dots in her little rectangle and pin her, you'll see her screen blown up to full size.
So what this image is a man holding a TV, which I've made into his head, and then 3 of the earth in the CMYK colors. All right, got it. So yeah, I've been playing a lot with neon colors, with texture. I like to make the images feel like they're not real. I don't want to make things that are real because I feel like my whole life I've been such a perfectionist, and I feel that I need to get away from that work. I want to explore more of the imperfections and more of what makes humanity so crazy, And I feel like being so perfect is, you don't need to do that, especially with images, especially with photography. Like you click it and it is what it is. So why can't we play around with that idea of making things not appear the way that we think that they're going to appear, the way that we think they're going to be. So that, my color one.
Fran,
a lot of,
Fran, can I ask you to pull up her Instagram and share on your screen? It's P Pterodactyls. I'll put it.
I can put it in the chat. Yeah.
Yeah, put it in the chat. You keep going, and then Fran will show your images.
That's exactly what I was trying to do.
Cool. I also have like videos and things up there of like the process as well.
And by the way, anybody feel comfortable to share any information you want about yourself in the chat as well. Make any comments. Again, this is ATOA, Artist Talk on Art. We're a 501c3. Our website is listed at the beginning. If you're not on our mailing list, excellent. That's Fran. By the way, I do want to thank a few of the board members. Fran Beeler, a board member that's here. I see Mitch Pilnick, a board member for ATOA that is here. And I saw another board member. Let's see. Well, I'll mention it later. But yeah, Roberto Bernardi, another board member who's our regular and who has been inspired by our group to actually start painting and drawing. So she will be presenting one day. So go ahead, Tara, take it away. We've got your images up.
All right, cool. So yeah, as you can see, I do play a lot with the earth. I just like the idea of like getting away from ourselves and being able to look from the outside in. Like the earth is literally all around us. Imagine if you could see it right in front of you. And so I just love to play with that idea and pulling it out into the world. So as you can see, the last two that I did with the blue, with the pink is like is all the earth. And
do you want me to
you can click on that one if you want.
Wait, this one?
No, that's a video above it. Yeah. So as you can see, it's a bunch of the earth and it's surrounded by the stars and the galaxy in the back, and it goes into a cornfield, and then we have the earth around it. It's just playing with, perception and viewing. And I just really love the idea of what if there was all these earths, and what if there was more than just us, and the idea of planets with habitual like people habitating them. And yeah, so that's what I've been playing a lot with recently. So just a lot of different planet things. And then the last one I did before that, that's just a process video. You can play that. It's a process video of just how I work. So it's a lot of layering, and I use all public domain and royalty-free images because of course I wouldn't want to steal other people's work. I'm a photographer as well, so I know copyrights and all that. So I just like to play a lot with layering, and I think I do it mostly like extremely organically. I don't ever go into the process knowing exactly what I'm going to do. And I think that's, again, getting away from the feeling of being a perfectionist in every way, in every aspect of life. I'm trying to do this work as organically as possible while still keeping to certain themes like the space and surrealist ideas.
Tara, one thing I will say, the word you mentioned most often is playing. And that, that word has come up in the Artist Talk on Arts and our discussions many, many times. And it should be understood that play, which is something I'm pretty sure Picasso was very proud to do, play is quite a complex thing. It involves being open, free, and it's
very hard.
It is very hard. And very much a creative process. It's something I respect. Some artists are very wary of using that word, and other artists are very proud. It seems like in our intellectual contemporary times, it's almost frowned upon, and yet others, I hear it over and over again, they realize this is a play. And just the little video that you showed before showed how many different videos you are playing with, you are layering, and go ahead. Thank you. Thanks for
I think definitely the word play for me is always constantly in my head because I do have an acting background. So I went to school for theater. I didn't even go to school for art, but this is something has been ingrained in my life forever. My mother has always had us doing art since we were children. It used to be my punishment as a kid to get my art supplies taken away. Like if I did something bad, my mom would be like, I'm gonna take your art box away. And I'm like, no, so it's always been something very ingrained in my life. So I've always been an artist, but I did study theater, and in theater, everything is about instinct and play. And so I feel like that whole, education has really shown in the work that I do in my art as well, because everything is play. Our whole lives are play. You never know what you're going to do, especially with this pandemic. We have no idea what is going to happen. I thought that I was going to be a photographer forever, and that I was going to have a photo studio, and that I was going to take pictures of other people for other people's things. But now I'm making work for myself, for my personal self. And I really enjoy doing that. And I'm really excited that I got the opportunity to play with that, in order to see what I could create out of nothing. And in all this uncertain time, we're able to create awesome, cool, fun things. And I'm really excited that I'm getting to do that now, especially because the world is so nuts. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say, but yeah,
Well, I
I'm
think
just like playing a lot.
you hit another word, fun. We have had artists use that, and there's, there. I mean, maybe the bipolar expression is there's a very serious approach to art, and there's a very fun approach, but they're not necessarily two poles. They can be integrated. We've had artists mention the importance of fun, of enjoyment. Again, it's a small word, but it expresses a lot. Just like if you ask somebody, "Are you happy?" It may sound like the simplest of questions, but it really says a lot about somebody if they can be happy.
Yeah, I think like especially during all of this crazy time, like it was hard, especially in the beginning, because this is something definitely more new that I've done like second half of pandemic, because in the beginning it's just like I didn't want to do anything. I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do, and now I'm creating something out of that, dread. So I'm lifting everything up and creating something new and vibrant and happy. And, I don't think that there's anything wrong with having fun and being happy and playing with your work. This is definitely more of a lot of studying for me. I'm just like creating as much as I can and just letting it happen. But I'm also working on some other work that is a little bit more serious, that is more like about myself. I'm doing like a self-portrait sort of series that I'm working on, basically with collaging, with all these different elements. But I think this is going to be more of a physical collage. So I'm printing out work and doing painting and things like that, which is fun. It's harder for me to get physical with my art at the moment because I travel so often. I'm not able to stay in London forever. So I know that any moment I might have to pack up all my stuff and leave. So a lot of my work ends up being digital because of that limitation. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think limitation can be a good thing, and it helps you find things you didn't know that you would have. Like I was limited. I wasn't able to shoot photography anymore. I wasn't able to be with people anymore. And through that limitation, I started creating this work. And, it's created something I never thought that I was going to do or ever thought that was going to happen, which is exciting.
That's a good point, Tara. I'd like to point out Susan Tiffin said the obvious. Tara, you're so upbeat, so happy. It's wonderful to hear as well as see your work. And there's no question about it. Hearing you speak, I can sort of understand the colors you're choosing. It was surprising when you first said you wear black a lot.
I know. It's like my whole wardrobe.
Yeah, it's very New York of you, but I see in your works a different color expression. And you are right. I had this talk with my son just on this weekend. Constraints, confinement is often a very good thing.
Yeah, I agree.
In an artwork, it's sort of, I like shooting with Polaroids. There's not much you can do with a Polaroid camera.
Yep.
So you're forced into a very tight range of how you work. And that can make you be more creative.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah, and exactly to your point, this era of COVID has been a confinement, literally.
Yeah.
And as a result, what you've done and what many artists have done, it's also a way of getting out of COVID. We've sort of, that's what artists do. We maybe somehow
create a new world.
Exactly. We plant the seed. We try and grow. They say a lotus grows in the dirt and the muck of a pond, and it's a beautiful bloom. And it's obviously right here. That's what you're doing. You're working with adversity. Even artists who were in the Holocaust, people, how to express themselves. It's not just a cathartic release. It's almost like a solution to a problem. So I do applaud you.
If I may say, just listening to Tara, thank you for sharing. And all this kind of, you said dreadful and all that. This morning I heard something that all of that you described is an opportunity too. So it became an opportunity for you to explore other things and look at what you came out. So
I'm very thankful for it.
It's the yin yang of life. The dreadful that you mentioned became an opportunity for you and for many of us.
Yeah, because I mean, you can plan life, you can plan all the things you think are going to happen, but at any moment, everything can change. And that's what did happen. Everything changed in everybody's lives. And I think that you always have to be on your feet. You always have to be looking for something else and something new to try. And that's what I've been doing. I've just been open to all the things that were coming my way and all of the things that my mind was saying to do. It was like, hey, you have to do something. You have to create something. You can't just sit around and do nothing. And so I took my skills, which I have a bunch of skills in Photoshop, and you know, I have editing skills. So I was like, what could I do with these things? And then created this. So, you know, everything happens for a reason, you know, as they say.
Actually, I posted a question related to that in the chat. I really love your creativity. And one of the challenges with being creative is having a good skill set to support. And so I just wondered, because I can see from the videos, you're very proficient at Photoshop. So how did you become so proficient? Was it through your own practice? Did you learn it specifically?
I was never ever taught formally. I have always just been doing everything on my own. I'm still learning. And that's something I tell people all the time when they think that they can't do something. I just say, do it. Just do it, because eventually you'll learn. You learn on the go. A lot of, like, even this morning, I had no idea how to make certain shapes into certain colors, like the way I did with that neon image. I was like, how do I do this? I want to make these images one color. And I didn't know how to do it. And I had to look it up and Google it. And YouTube has everything. YouTube is your teacher. If you want to find out anything, you can YouTube it. Like, somebody has done it before and somebody will help you. Even if, say you find somebody who you think is really good at something, you could message them. That's the beauty of this social world. You can message them and be like, I love what you're doing. I have no idea how to do this. Would you mind explaining it to me? And a lot of the times people will say yes, and they're more than happy to help you. And
something similar, thanks, because I mean, it's amazing how you can put in like the goofiest question about how to do something in Google, and lo and behold, somebody's that's the same question.
Somebody's done it. Somebody's done everything. This image right here, this is actually a good friend of mine. She makes these amazing hats. They're vegan hats. They're furry and crazy, and she hand makes them. So if you guys ever want to check her out, she's amazing. Her name's Emma Bruin. But I made this collage for her because she was having a contest. She's giving one away.
I'd like to read from the chat. Mitch Pilnick says, Tara, what is the meaning to you of the buildings and the architecture that you incorporate?
There's not really so much of a meaning behind most of my work. A lot of it is just instinctual, but I do find myself being very drawn to buildings, space, Earth, and planets. But the buildings, I think I want more angular objects. A lot of the times, a lot of the space things are very circular and fluid, and you get like the galaxies are very fluid. I like using the juxtaposition of the straight, crazy buildings, especially like with this water right here. Very fluid movement. Even in the back there, that is also water, but in a different color layer over it. So I just like the comparing, like having both things side by side, like fluidity and rigidness. I mean, also my mother was an architect, so maybe that has something to do with it. But she was an architect for a long time, so probably could have influenced me. But what I've been doing in the work is I'm literally letting my brain go freestyle. I'm not thinking about it ever. I let my brain go, oh, you like that image? Put it in here. And that's what I've been doing. So the only time
I will say the obvious, it's on everybody's mind. We all want your mother to be our mother. The fact that she would take away your art supplies if you did something wrong, the way she encouraged you, and the need for encouragement is very important. It obviously has led to something.
Yeah, she's great.
Blossomed you. It really is special.
She's always been super supportive. She's definitely a very artistic woman herself, and anytime that we got fussy or anything, she'd give us art supplies. She's like, oh, you have nothing to do? Here, draw something. Here, paint something. And that was like my whole childhood was always painting and drawing. And I just always remember creating things as a kid. So I'm very grateful to have her as a mother. Love her very much.
Tara, don't you think that Photoshop is like our brain? Like it's always more to explore, and we use maybe 10-15%, and it's very, you have to go with intuition once you start touching all the,
once you know the very minimal basics, you can create so much. But then you find out there's all these layers. There's so much more that you don't know for sure. And I have been, even today, like I said, I found something that I didn't even know after my like 12 years of using Photoshop. I find something new still now. So, you know, there's always something more to explore.
Yeah.
And for those people who always think, oh, I don't know Photoshop. Oh, I can't learn it. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do either, but I'm creating things. Like nobody ever really knows what they're doing until they do it. And so I always encourage people, oh, you don't know it? Well, I didn't know it either at first. And now, you know, I kind of know it.
I want to also read a couple other comments from Sandy Taggart. Tara, you are very resilient and making some very fun images. Jill Gerwitz comment, in some ways, finding new expression during COVID times is something resilient. Cesar, who's presented earlier, he said, Tara, use circles, curvilinear shapes, and squared shapes with the same aesthetic balance as those who produce cubic.
Yeah, I've always liked Cubist work.
Exactly. So he's tying the link in there. Jill Gerwitz said, let's see if I can find that back. I love the phones and the butterflies. For myself, I'd add that little image of the scorpion where you get that scale. Yeah, because you get that scale play.
Yeah, I love the scale.
Yeah.
The phone and the butterfly one, I actually have a print for sale on my website. If you guys want to grab that.
And Basha Ruth Nelson, love the imagery. And I think we all agree, we can sort of sense your personality in the work. You're also creating a surreal effect, much like Cesar did. I want to point out there was no concept of linking people who were related here, but it's obvious how your work made a lot of sense coming after Cesar's. We are going to move forward with Kathryn Lynch while Roberta gets her telephone. And so we'll move to Kathryn Lynch. I just want to say a quick word. Kathryn, I do know, I have done a studio visit. I was very much taken by her work. I would say Kathryn is a great example of a contemporary painter who paints in a style that at times is like Edward Munch, and at times is maybe like some contemporary artists. So she does have a sort of span a range of time. And I think the point there is painters are painters. It doesn't matter what your time is. We're working with brush, maybe knife, maybe stick, whatever it is, but we are painting. She also captures a sort of interesting, surreal, foggy expression in her work. I won't say too much more. It's always best. I remember being in a gallery and having people come up to me and ask me about an artist. And I could say, the artist is right here. Let me have them answer. So in that light, I'll give it to you, Kathryn. Try screen sharing. If you run into problems, we're pretty good at fixing things. And I want to thank you. And as well, Tara, round of applause. I do want to thank you for that presentation. We all drew your energy just from not only your art, but from everything you said. I like to think of art as an exchange of energy. An artist puts it into the canvas. We see it and we take it out as well as we can. And I think with you, it's even in your speech. We're just absorbing it. So thank you. Kathryn, I look forward to what you have to present, and welcome and thank you. Again, thank all of you for presenting tonight and all the people who are here. Artist Talk on Art is about artists talking on art. We are nothing without you. We're a shell corporation that is not hiding our assets in the Cayman Islands, but we become real when you artists share and talk. And I want to thank everyone here. I always like to point out, time is your most limited commodity, and you're all giving it to us. We have come together in our 41st talk. I refer to us as a hive, or as Alyssa Pritzker mentioned, a tribe that she follows, the Selknam tribe. We've become a group, a community. Tara mentioned communities, and we've become one. So Kathryn, I've avoided introducing you for at least 100 words, but welcome and thank you. I'll ask you to unmute. Let's see, give her a minute to unmute.
But I can't I don't know how to split the screen. to get images.
Share the screen.
So do you have a Instagram you'd like us to punch up? I can have, if you type in your Instagram into the chat, if you type that in, Fran, are you, Fran Beeler, our workhorse at the ATOA?
I could do that, but Kathryn, are you on a computer or a
I'm
phone?
on the computer.
Oh, so at the bottom of your screen, you see the little green square share screen?
Oh, share screen.
Yeah, so you hit that and a bunch of little boxes should come up and you have to pick the one that shows what it is you'd like to share. So do you have something up on your computer ready to share with us?
Oh, I did it. I don't.
Okay, you want to do that? I only say that because I have to leave shortly, so I don't want to have to cut off. You know
what? I have a catalog. I can flip through the pictures.
We have Michael Krasowitz. You see Kathryn Lynch pics. You want to punch that up?
Yeah, I got it.
See,
great. Thanks, Mike.
Look at Michael. Look at that. So quick. Thank you, Michael. And again,
thank you so much.
That's our hive at the best right there.
So
So you just tell me which image I can like pull up an image and scroll through if you want.
okay, that's not my image. That's a show I went to that I really like the painter.
Okay.
He's 28 years old.
Okay.
And he's showed by Derek Eller. His name's Jameson Green. But I really like it. It's up now if anybody wants to see it. And then my pictures are based on buildings, cars, boats, suns, moons. And the way I paint is very instinctive and it's leading me. I feel like I just follow where it heads. And much of what I do is really about the paint. And when I paint, there's no words connected to what I'm doing. And so then when it comes to having words about what I'm doing, I fail miserably. So because I'm so much in the paint.
That makes a lot of sense. I often say when you see a piece of poetry, they don't necessarily assign a painting to the poem. And yet as artists, we're expected to assign words to our paintings. I totally respect that, Kathryn. But having said that, feel free to talk about everything and anything. Maybe, anything at all.
I'm much more interested in the feeling of something than the actual thing itself. I'm not that interested in painting what something looks like. I'm not a painter the way you would set up an easel and paint something, although I've done that. But I'm definitely responding on a guttural level to the world around me and using, I don't know. See, I need practice talking about my work.
It's hard.
So I'm just curious, since you said you don't set up with an easel, how do you do your paintings?
Often I take long walks, and then from the walks I'll sketch, and then from those sketches I'll start paintings. And then I have another thing that happens where I'll just take a whole bunch of old paintings that I deem failures and then continue working on them. I change what I paint on all the time. Sometimes it will be on linen, sometimes boards, sometimes I'll change it all around. I always want to break my habits, so I'm not I'm always want to be surprised every day by what I'm doing. So if I feel that I know how to do something, or if I'm getting repetitive, I quickly want to make a switch, or if I feel any kind of comfort level, I guess. I always want to stay a little uncomfortable and a little pushing myself.
Kathryn, I'll just scroll through pictures, but if you want me to show a particular one, you want me to show this one with the
I
buildings?
think the ones I like the most are my cities. Well, here are two, the F train and the BQE in blue and the F train in yellow. But there's I guess I can't do it from my end, right?
If you were to bring up this screen, you could, but if I'm doing it, I can only just.
Yeah, I don't know how to what do you mean bring up the screen? Sorry.
Do you have a website?
Yes, kathrynlynch.com.
Do you want me to bring that up?
Sure.
Or Catherine, so if you bring up your website on your own screen, then you can share screen and you can control it.
Okay,
Right.
and exactly like what Tara experienced, you have to leave the screen.
Yeah, it's gonna exit out.
That,
Oh, no, no, I've never heard that before, honestly.
It's like a security thing on the computer.
Well, it just
oh
depends.
no, you brought,
Everyone's,
there's my website.
Okay, so like I said, you want me to go into paintings or works on
Yeah,
paper?
paintings.
Catherine, let me ask you, did you study, did you do an MFA, a BFA? Do you have?
Yes,
do you
I have an MFA from University of Pennsylvania when Neil Welliver taught there. And then I went to Skowhegan and studied with, oh, this is a good page. I like all these city ones. And studied with Per Kirkeby and Gregory Amanoff, which were real. I really loved meeting them.
That being at Skowhegan is very well respected in the art world. Not an easy program to get into at all.
Well, really, everybody should apply at all times. It's fabulous. And also residencies, Yaddo, I've been to Yaddo, I've been to the Virginia Center for Creative Arts is a really good residency. The Vermont Studio Center. And Tara, you would really like my friend's work, Megan Booty.
Okay.
So this is the Gowanus Canal, the F train, and city cars and boats and Empire State Building. This painting was done during the pandemic, and every day sort of had an emergency feeling to it. And there were constant sirens. I don't know if anyone heard them, if they were just
always.
Yeah, it just didn't stop.
Non-stop. And then after that, there were fireworks non-stop. So I have a fireworks painting too, but it's not, this is one of my favorite new ones that was done recently. And it was also one thing I felt about being here or staying here is how much I love this city. And it also makes you realize how much you love people and spontaneity and going to openings and seeing just groups of people. Somebody said something funny where they miss strangers. Going into a room of strangers. But
yes. I will say one thing, you're capturing light, which is one of the hardest things to do. If you think of how Van Gogh captured the light in that room with the pool table, or if you think of Seurat, how he captured light, not an easy thing to do. I always think of stars are like one of the largest things in our field of reality, and it's one of the smallest as an image. And you try and paint a star, it's probably the hardest thing to make it come out. And even light, and you've someone's asked, are you working with oil paint primarily?
yes, only oil.
I think so. That's the only way to get the richness, the sort of
you can layer it. And also but I'm drawn to light. Like light is basically what I'm painting, much more than anything else. It's really all finding light, which is also just trying to get to energy, sort of a primal energy, a force. I think painting is a force. And so even though my pictures are representational, they're not at all real. Like that's not a real car. Those aren't real things. Those are the fireworks after the sirens. But I want to create a life, I guess, as it is in the picture.
I love it when artists say they can't speak about their work and then they speak brilliantly. That's the best. I think it's as Tara said earlier, I can't do Photoshop, then you do it. And it's because you haven't learned the language, but you're forced to learn it yourself. You do it brilliantly. And I think, Catherine, you have no problem speaking about your work. It comes out very nicely. I have at times spoken with people who speak a foreign language, and we both don't speak the right language, but I know a little French. And what comes out is the essence, the real important things. And I think, as you're speaking about it, there's no fluff. There's no art words that are over 10 letters that have no meaning. and you're not looking to synthesize the meaning, but you're just speaking from the heart. So it's totally working for me.
Okay. Then I guess we're done. Well, thank you. It's nice that you asked me to talk about art because it is truly, people know I have stage fright, acute stage fright, so I can't give a lecture. And even a friend of mine asked me to be a bridesmaid long time ago. And she said, you just have to say one sentence. And I was like, I can't, I really have stage fright. She said, it's one sentence, you can do it. So she wouldn't let me say no. And I got up to the podium and I couldn't say it. I was like, my voice just got stuck. And all I could say clearly mid through the sentence was, I have stage fright. And then everyone started laughing. I could then do the rest of the half of the sentence. So
Sandy Taggart points out, very impressive the way we can see the distant headlights. Fran Beeler, bravo, Tara and Kathryn, wonderful work. Mitch Pilnick asks, what's the typical size of your work, Kathryn?
Well, that's another thing I love to do. I love to go super small and then super big. And I'd say my favorite size is 7 by 10 feet, but it's not practical because I don't end up selling them. And I then don't want to, like, it's cumbersome. And then I like to change locations a lot. And then I'll go 8 by 10, 9 by 11 inches. But I'd say the bulk of my work is 4 by 5 feet. But I love changing sizes. I like changing sizes. I like changing what you paint on. I like experimenting and I like failing. I think every time I fail, I feel so good about it because I went off my trajectory. I tried. It's really, I'd say the best thing about painting is the ability to fail every day and it's the only way for myself that I can get somewhere. And it's also one of the things, like painting's one of the things you do where you feel bad about yourself some days because you are a painter. Like, what are you doing painting? And then you feel another day like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing. I'm the best person in the world. And this is the best thing that anybody can do. But you don't get, like you said, you don't get a straight line. There's no straight line and there's no guarantee and there's no, you just have to do it because you have to do it. And
Kathryn, I would like to know if you are doing these kind of paintings at this moment during COVID.
I did a lot of the city ones at this during COVID, and now I just on my Instagram, the very top ones are what I'm working on now. And basically, I'm a little bit stuck visually on what I'm doing, so I'm taking old failures and really beating them up to get them to deserve life. Because I had a stack of paintings that I was just going to toss, but I can't toss the thing you can paint on out because I don't believe in wasting a single art supply. I really believe they can all be resuscitated. You can get something out of something. And I'm not very worried about my pictures being, I mean, I'm sure it's really not so great for a commercial aspect. I think that most galleries want to see sort of a postage stamp on your work. And I feel that some of my paintings are super thick because they're failures till they work. And others are super thin because they worked right off the bat. But I don't have a formula and I don't have I'm open and I want to stay open and I want to stay experimenting and I want to stay learning.
You know, Kirsten, can I just say one thing? One little comment. There is a wonderful little book. It's a very thin little book, and it's an old book. The title is Dialogue in the Void, and it deals with the relationship between Giacometti and what is this painter? Giacometti and Beckett and Giacometti.
Yeah.
And there's one chapter in that book which is called The Importance of Failure. And I was thinking when you said, if you can read it, because it speaks how important
I would love to. Well, I love Giacometti and Beckett. So right
yeah,
up.
but in
So
that
what's
little
the
book,
title of the book?
It's called Dialogue in the Void. Dialogue in the Void. It's an old book, but has been out for a long time, but you still can get it online.
Okay.
And there's one one chapter which talks about the importance of failure. And I think it's a wonderful, has meant a lot to me on the long run of my.
Well, also having kids, I feel like our whole society has really taken away the ability to fail. Like kids are put through schools and they have to be good at every subject. And there's such this nervousness around the whole process. And it's like, it's okay to be bad at something. It's okay to be a C student. It's okay to not fit in the little hoop that everybody has to jump through. But I feel like our society's become quite conservative on not wanting anything to fail. Like failure seen as, I don't know.
Well,
We're a very limited society, I feel like, a very conservative society.
Thank you for saying that. You remind me when I think, the brush or goes to another place that you think that it, and you say, hello, where are you taking me? I talk to my brushes when they go other places, Where are you taking me today? So I like that idea of the adventure, not knowing where you go with some of the, the movements that we do when we are in action.
Yes.
Thank you.
I do want to point out very successful comedians, before they go on stage, they still get butterflies. It's part of it. And then when they start to speak, they sort of lose it and they get into it. Also, I was a skier, a very good skier. I still am. And I was proud of the fact that I didn't fall. But I know when I don't fall, it means I didn't push myself in skiing enough. Of course, I didn't want to fall because my knees are not what they used to be. So very much like painting, I do teach painting to neophytes in the art world. And I always make the point, if you want to get from point A to B and you get there, fine. However, if on the way, and this is what painting is about, you make a mistake and you have to resolve it, you'll get way beyond B and you won't imagine how you got there, but it will give you that creative bump. You'll have to work through something hard. It could be at times that you pick up the wrong color with your brush. It could be that you make a mark that is discontinuous to what you wanted to do. But resolution, and think of it like life, in heaven, nothing good happens. It's flatline, it's like death. But when we have problems and we have to evolve through them, hell is the place you want to be. Everything's messed up and it's sort of a very creative environment. Yes, I just watched Little Nicky, so that's my reference and shout out to Adam Sandler. But the point is, we do resolve things as artists. It is not a straight line. We have to both be open to failure, but at the same time, Kathryn, you're bringing a lot of tools behind you. You're bringing a lot of instinct that you've developed and evolved. So it's this odd combination of having a great toolbox and being able to combat, open up, fail, combat, and it's very much a creative cycle. Think of science. A lot of the great discoveries came about by experiments gone wrong, by a petri dish left out and falling on the ground and mixing with something. So it is often accident that yields brilliance. There are many approaches. I assume everything with Mondrian was straight and direct, and he sort of got it. That's one approach. There's never really one right way, but I certainly find your method, Kathryn, Tara, your sort of play, and also Cesare, your willingness to combine all the different things that you do and know and bring them together. I find it inspiring. I'm going to say thank you to everybody. I just want to remind you, we are Artist Talk on Art. We're a 501c3. This talk will be up on our website probably tomorrow. Sorry, the link will be on the website. It'll be on our YouTube page, which is Artist Talk on Art. Kathryn, I want to thank you, and everybody thank Kathryn.
Thank you.
A brilliant presentation. You know, I always write down little snippets. You said a lot of brilliant, smart, short snippets, everything we could ask for. And part of our format is really about people getting out there and saying. It is very hard to talk about your art because it's hard enough making your art and then trying to summarize it into English, which makes no sense at all because we are visual artists. We are working with color, line, form. I do like how several artists today and over a few of our talks have said things like, I work with earth, sun, light, line. Often artists do revert to basic elements, not unlike whether it was Aristotle's or Socrates' sort of definition. For my own painting, I often say water, land, sky. That summarizes 90% of my paintings. I do want to thank you. I think all three of you were brilliant and diverse artists tonight. Thank you so much for sharing. We're Artists Talk on Art. Thank you all for coming and for everybody who joined us. Come next week. Tell your friends. If anybody has a panel they want to put together, any friends they want to organize around the theme, anything at all, just reach out to me and we'll schedule a date. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.